My dad kicked me out until I said sorry to his precious favorites, my sister, Ashley, and her son, Evan. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He just stood in the living room, arms folded, like he was delivering a rule that had always existed. I looked at him and said, "Okay. This is a story created by the author of the Revenge Amber channel for educational and inspirational purposes, and it does not portray any specific real-life individual." Ashley let out a sharp breath like she'd won something. "See, that wasn't so hard. It's not an apology," I said. "It's an answer." Dad's jaw tightened. "Lauren, don't start. Not tonight." Evan hovered behind Ashley's hip, clutching a marker with the cap off. He didn't look scared. He looked curious, like he was waiting to see which adult would get punished. I pointed at the floor. "Can someone explain why your records are everywhere?" Dad's eyes flicked down. Black discs scattered across the rug. Neon streaks carved into grooves that had taken him decades to collect. He didn't touch them. He didn't kneel. He didn't even flinch. Ashley moved first straight between me and the mess, like her body could block blame. It was an accident. I kept my voice low. "Evan, who gave you the markers?" Ashley snapped. "Don't interrogate him. I'm asking." I said, steady, "Because this didn't happen by itself." Evan peeked at my face, then at his mom. "Mom told me to stay busy." Ashley's eyes widened for half a second, just long enough for me to see the truth land. Then she recovered. I told him to color. "On paper. Like a normal person. You're twisting it." Dad finally looked at me like I'd committed the crime. "Why were you talking to him like that?" "Like what I said." Calm Ashley threw her hands up. "You always do this. You act calm so you can look reasonable while you make me look like a bad mother. I didn't say you were a bad mother." I asked a question. Evan's marker squeaked against the cap as he fidgeted. Ashley put a hand on his shoulder. "Gentle now. Dramatic. Baby. You're okay. Aunt Lauren's just intense." I stared at my dad. "He destroyed your collection." Dad's mouth twitched like he was tasting something bitter. Then he said, "He's a child. And I'm what I asked." The disposable adult Ashley's voice rose. "Stop. Stop acting like you're the victim. He's been crying because you scared him." Evan blinked, dry-eyed. I said, "He hasn't cried once." Ashley leaned closer, eyes glossy. "You don't get to decide what hurts my son." Dad cut in, sharp. "That's enough." I took a breath. "I'm not yelling. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just saying this is wrong, and you're pretending it's my fault." Dad's gaze hardened. "You came into my house and disrespected your sister." I laughed once, small and tired. "Your house that I keep running." Ashley's head snapped up. "There it is. The martyr speech. I'm not doing a speech." I said, "I'm stating a fact." Dad stepped closer. "Lauren, listen to me. Ashley is under stress. Evan is adjusting. We're family. You don't get to make a scene over this." A scene, I repeated. I asked who handed him a marker. Dad's voice lowered, dangerous in its calm. "You will apologize. To your sister, and to Evan." Ashley nodded quickly. "Say it. Just say you're sorry for the way you spoke to him." I looked at Evan again. He watched me like the whole thing was a show he didn't want to end. I turned back to my dad. "You're serious?" Dad didn't blink. "Either you apologize, or you leave tonight. If you've ever been in a moment like that where you realize love in your family comes with conditions, tell me in the comments what you would do. Would you apologize to keep the peace, or would you walk out and never look back?" My hands went cold, not from fear, from clarity. I nodded once. "Okay." People assume I moved in with my dad because I couldn't manage on my own. Ashley liked that version of the story. She told it often, usually with a sigh and a line about how family steps in when someone falls behind. The truth was quieter. I moved in because they were falling apart. Dad was nearing retirement and pretending it wasn't happening. Ashley hadn't held a steady job since Evan was born. Every conversation in that house ended the same way: someone needing something, and someone looking at me. It's just until things stabilize. Dad said the week I brought my suitcase in, "We'll figure it out together." Together turned into me covering the electricity the first month. Ashley smiled like it was no big deal. "I'll get you back next paycheck." There was no paycheck. Then the internet bill came. "Evan needs it for school." Ashley said, "You work online anyway." Groceries followed. Then school supplies. Then the phone plan because Ashley had gone over her data again and Dad didn't want the service cut off. Every time, the reason sounded temporary. Every time, it stuck. One night, I mentioned we should split things more evenly. Ashley didn't even look up from her phone. "You make more than me. I make enough to live on my own." I said, "That doesn't mean I can carry everyone." Dad cleared his throat. "Let's not turn money into a problem." "It already is," I said. He waved a hand. "Family doesn't keep score." So I stopped trying to talk about it. I paid the water bill. I paid the streaming services because Evan cried when his shows disappeared. I paid for a bunk bed because Ashley said the couch was hurting his back. When the car tags expired, I handled it. When Ashley forgot to schedule Evan's dentist appointment, I called during my lunch break. No one thanked me. No one asked how I was managing. It was just assumed that I would. One afternoon, Ashley tossed me her phone. "Can you reorder my contacts? I lost half of them." I stared at her. "Why?" She shrugged. "You're better at that stuff." Better at that stuff became better at everything. Better at fixing, covering, smoothing over. When the old dog got sick, I paid the vet bill $1,340, and Ashley cried into my shoulder like I hadn't just added another balance to my credit card. Dad saw the statements once, spread across the kitchen table. He didn't look angry. He looked relieved. "You've always been responsible," he said. "We're lucky to have you." Lucky. By the time 2 years and 7 months had passed, the house wasn't just running because of me. It depended on me. And somehow, I was still the one being told to apologize. I didn't argue after Dad gave me the ultimatum. That seemed to bother Ashley more than if I'd screamed. "You're really going to do this?" she said as I walked toward my room. Over a misunderstanding, I didn't turn around. "You called it an apology." He called it a condition. She scoffed. "You always make things sound dramatic." I closed my door and locked it. My hands were steady as I pulled my laptop from the desk, slid my documents into a folder, and folded clothes into a bag. I didn't rush. I didn't hesitate. The noise outside my room kept going. Dad's voice, low. "She'll calm down." Ashley's, sharp. "She's bluffing." They were both wrong. When I came back into the hallway with my bag, Ashley was waiting. "If you walk out, don't expect things to stay the same." I met her eyes. "They already haven't." Dad stepped forward. "Lauren, you're being stubborn." "I'm being clear." I said, "You told me to apologize or leave." He sighed, like I was exhausting him. "You don't have to make it permanent." I paused at the door. "You already did." No one followed me. That hurt more than I expected, but not enough to stop me. I spent the night on a friend's couch. By morning, I had a list. The phone plan was in my name. I logged in and removed every line except mine. The confirmation email came through in seconds. The internet account followed. So did the streaming services Ashley insisted were for Evan. I canceled the grocery deliveries scheduled for the week. The utility portal showed the water and electricity under my name. I set them to transfer and terminate. My phone buzzed before I finished my coffee. "Ashley, my phone isn't working." I didn't reply. A minute later, Lauren, "Fix this." Then Dad, "Why is the water account showing a cancellation notice?" I stared at the screen, feeling something loosen in my chest. Not anger, relief. Another message from Ashley. "Evan can't watch his shows." This is cruel. I typed once, then deleted it. I didn't owe explanations anymore. By noon, the voicemails started. Ashley's voice bounced between fury and panic. Dad's stayed firm, demanding, like authority alone could reverse what had already happened. They thought I'd left in a huff. They thought I'd come back once they waited me out. What they didn't understand yet was that I hadn't just walked away. I had stepped out of the system they'd been living inside. The first week was inconvenient for them. That was all. Ashley left me a message the morning the internet shut off. "This isn't funny," she said. "Evan has online homework. Dad needs the news. Just turn it back on." I listened once and deleted it. 2 days later, Dad called. He didn't say hello. "I'm getting emails from the electric company," he said. "Did you forget to pay it?" "I didn't forget," I said. It was the first time I'd answered. My voice surprised me. Calm. Even. There was a pause. "Then, what did you do?" I stopped. Silence stretched long enough to feel intentional. "Lauren," he said finally, "you don't get to just walk away from responsibilities." "I walked away from conditions," I said. "You were very clear about those." He exhaled sharply. "We'll talk later." Week 2 came with warnings, automated calls, late notices taped to the door. Ashley sent screenshots like proof of betrayal. "This says final notice." She texted, "You know how to fix this." I replied once, "You know how to." Her answer came fast. "Don't be smart." By the end of the second week, her tone shifted. The anger softened into panic. "We just need a little time," she said in a voicemail. "You didn't have to do it like this." I didn't answer. Week 3 hit harder. The electric company shut the power off after the last notice expired. Dad called from a neighbor's phone. "This is ridiculous," he said. "You're punishing everyone." "I'm not doing anything." I said, "I'm not there." "You know Evan is scared of the dark." Ashley yelled in the background. I closed my eyes. Then someone should turn the lights back on. By the 4th week, the systems they never noticed were gone. Ashley's car insurance lapsed. She called me screaming from a parking lot, her words tumbling over each other. "They towed it," she said. "They actually towed my car. Did you renew the policy I asked?" She sobbed. "You always did that." The refrigerator broke 2 days later. No one scheduled a repair. Evan's school sent a message about his lunch account being empty. Ashley forwarded it to me with no comment. Dad left a voicemail that night, his voice lower than usual. "We're struggling," he said. "This has gone far enough." I listened twice, then once more. What none of them said out loud was how much I'd been doing. Not helping, running. I was the login for the insurance portal, the reminder for the car tags, the one who set alerts so bills never slipped, the one who handled things before they became emergencies. Every time Ashley had said, "Lauren will take care of it," she meant it. And now Lauren wasn't there. The messages kept coming, some angry, some pleading, some carefully neutral. Like Dad was afraid of saying the wrong thing and losing the last thread of control he thought he still had. I didn't block them. Not yet. I wanted them to feel the silence the way I had lived inside it for years, steady, unavoidable, and finally loud enough that it couldn't be ignored. I found out what Ashley was saying when my cousin Emily called. She didn't greet me. She just said, "Ashley told us you walked out after a fight and left them with nothing." I held the phone tighter. That's her version. Emily hesitated. She said Evan cried all night. She said you punished him to make a point. I left because I was told to apologize or leave. I said, I chose to leave. There was a pause. She didn't say that part. By the end of the week, the story had spread. Not loudly, quietly. The kind of story that slips into family conversations and settles there. I started getting messages I hadn't received in years. From my aunt and Nevada families stick together in hard times. From a distant cousin, kids don't deserve adult drama. Ashley was careful. She never said I was cruel. She said I was unstable. She said I was overwhelmed. She said I needed space and had taken it in a way that hurt everyone else. Dad backed her without defending her outright. He texted, "She didn't mean it like that." Then, you know how emotional she gets. When I didn't respond, Ashley escalated. She left me a voicemail that sounded practiced. "I don't know why you're doing this," she said, "but telling people I used you is crossing a line. You're rewriting history. I didn't tell anyone anything." I said later. When she called again, she laughed, sharp and brittle. "Please, you always need someone on your side. For 3 years," I said. "You didn't need me on your side. You needed me paying the bills." She went quiet, then angry. "So, this is about money now. It was always about money." I said, "You just didn't want to hear it." She hung up. The next message came from someone unexpected. My Aunt Marianne. "We hadn't spoken in months. Can you call me when you have time?" she wrote. When I did, she didn't interrupt. She didn't defend anyone. She just let me talk. When I finished, she said, "Do you have proof?" "Yes," I said. "Send it." She replied. I sent everything. Bank statements, utility confirmations, texts asking me to cover it this time. The vet bill for $1,340 that Ashley never paid back. Marianne didn't respond right away. When she did, it was 3 words. "I believe you." And for the first time since I left, the story wasn't just Ashley's anymore. Marianne didn't confront anyone right away. That was the first thing I noticed. Instead, she called me again 2 days later. "Walk me through it," she said. "From the beginning." Slowly. So I did. I told her how I moved in when things started slipping, how temporary help turned into monthly obligations, how I stopped counting after the first year because it felt pointless to keep track of what no one else wanted to acknowledge. Marianne listened without reacting. When I finished, she said, "Send me the rest." "There's more," I asked. "There always is," she replied. I sent screenshots of the insurance portal with my name on it, copies of utility statements, the confirmation emails showing canceled services, texts from Ashley asking if I could just handle it this time, a message from Dad thanking me for stepping up when the phone plan almost shut off, the receipt from the vet clinic, $1,340 charged to my card, Ashley promising to pay me back next month. Marianne called again after reviewing everything. "They didn't just accept help," she said. "They built their lives around you." "That's how it felt," I said. "That's how it was." She corrected. "There's a difference." She asked careful questions. "Did they ever reimburse you?" "No." "Did they ever ask how you were managing?" "No." "Did they know the accounts were in your name?" "Yes." There was a pause. Then she said, "They understood the risk. They just assumed you'd never walk away." That night, Ashley texted me again. "Marianne is asking questions." "What did you tell her?" I replied. "The truth." Her answer came fast. "You're trying to turn the family against me." "I didn't." I said. "You did that when you told them I abandoned you." She called immediately. "You think receipts make you right. They make things clear." I said. "People don't care about numbers," she snapped. "They care about intentions. Then explain yours." I said. She hung up. The next morning, Marianne sent a message to the family group chat I hadn't been part of since Ashley removed me. I didn't see it directly, but my cousin Emily forwarded it. There are 2 sides to every story. Marianne wrote, "Before we decide who was wrong, we should look at facts." Ashley didn't reply. Dad didn't either. Marianne called me that afternoon. "I'm organizing a family trip." She said, "I'll handle the logistics." "What does that have to do with this?" I asked. "It doesn't," she said calmly. "Not yet." Then she added, "But people listen when plans change." For the first time since I left, I felt the balance shift not because I had pushed back, but because someone else had finally stepped in and asked the question no one ever asked before. Who had really been carrying the cost of keeping the family together? The letter arrived on a Tuesday, folded cleanly inside a plain envelope. No warning, no drama, just my name printed neatly across the front. I opened it standing at my kitchen counter. It was a notice from the Internal Revenue Service, a CP 2000 notice, explaining there were discrepancies between reported income and claimed dependents. My name appeared next to benefits I had never received, credits I did not qualify for, filings I did not authorize. My stomach tightened, not with fear, but recognition. I called Uncle Daniel that afternoon. He answered on the second ring. I was hoping you'd call. He said, "You knew this was coming." I said, "I suspected." He replied, "When Marianne showed me the statements, the pattern was obvious." He explained it carefully. Ashley and Dad had used my information to claim tax benefits connected to Evan. They had reported inconsistent household income, not enough to trigger immediate alarms, but enough to catch attention over time. They didn't make a mistake. Daniel said, they made a choice. They told me it was temporary. I said, that it would help everyone. Daniel didn't raise his voice. People say that when they expect you to carry the consequences. He walked me through the steps to correct the record, forms, statements, documentation. He told me what to expect next and what not to say if anyone contacted me directly. "I'm helping you clean this up," he said. "But understand something. This wasn't confusion. This was convenience." That night, Dad called. His voice sounded different. "Careful. We got something in the mail," he said. "About taxes." "I did too," I said. He hesitated. "We were just trying to manage things. You managed them with my name." I said. Ashley grabbed the phone. "You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't report it," I said. "I corrected it. You didn't have to involve anyone else." She snapped. "I didn't," I said. "The system did." Her breathing sharpened. "So now we're criminals." "You knew what you were doing," I said. Daniel confirmed it. There was a long silence on the line. Dad spoke quietly. "We never thought it would get this far." "That's because you never thought I'd stop fixing it," I said. Ashley's voice dropped. "You could still help us smooth this out." "I already am." I said, "By telling the truth?" She laughed once. "Hollow. You really think papers matter more than family. They matter when family lies," I said. After the call ended, I forwarded the notice and my response to Marianne and Daniel. Marianne replied with one line. "Thank you for trusting us with this." The paper trail did something the arguments never had. It removed emotion. It replaced accusations with records. It showed that what happened wasn't a misunderstanding or a bad night or a child with markers. It was a system built on my silence. And that system was finally documented. I wasn't there when Ashley and Dad showed up at Marianne's house. I heard about it later, piece by piece, through messages and one late-night call from my cousin Emily, who sounded shaken. "They just walked in," she said, like nothing happened. Ashley didn't wait to be invited. She stood in the middle of the room and said, "So this is how you treat family now. You plan a trip and leave out a child." Marianne didn't raise her voice. She didn't ask them to leave. She simply said, "Sit down." Dad stayed near the doorway, hands in his pockets. Ashley paced. "You're punishing Evan." Ashley continued. "He didn't do anything wrong. You're all taking sides over adult drama." Marianne looked at her steadily. "This isn't about sides." "Then what is it about?" Ashley demanded. Marianne folded her hands on the table. "It's about accountability." Ashley laughed. "For what?" "Accepting help." "For using it," Marianne said, "and pretending it was mutual." Dad finally spoke. "This doesn't belong in front of everyone. It belongs exactly here." Marianne replied. Emily told me the room went quiet after that. No one reached for a drink. No one checked their phone. The air shifted, heavy and alert. Ashley turned toward Dad. Tell her Lauren offered? Dad rubbed his forehead. She helped. Yes. Marianne nodded. How much? Dad hesitated. I don't know. That's the problem, Marianne said. Then she asked the question that stopped everything. Can you repay Lauren for what she covered over the last 2 years and 7 months? Ashley opened her mouth, then closed it. That's not fair. Marianne didn't move. It's very fair. Ashley's voice sharpened. She never asked for it back. She never had to, Marianne said, because she was told family doesn't keep score. That's when Uncle Daniel stood up. He hadn't spoken all night. He placed a stack of papers on the table. Utilities, insurance statements, grocery records, subscription confirmations. Each page carried my name. Daniel didn't explain. He didn't argue. He simply let the documents exist. Ashley stared at them. This is private. It was shared with permission, Marianne said, and reviewed for accuracy. Dad sank into a chair. We didn't realize it added up like that. Marianne met his eyes. That's because you never wanted to. Ashley's voice cracked. So what now? You exile us. Marianne's tone stayed level. You're not invited on the trip, and you're not welcome in my home until you make this right. Ashley raised her voice. You can't do this. I can, Marianne said. I paid for it. I organized it. And I'm choosing who I spend time with. No one argued. No one defended them. Ashley turned to the room. You're all just letting this happen. Emily didn't answer. Neither did anyone else. Dad stood slowly. Let's go. Ashley looked stunned. We're just leaving. He didn't respond. He opened the door and walked out. Ashley followed, still talking, her words spilling into the hallway where no one listened. When Emily finished telling me, she said quietly, no one went after them. Later that night, my phone buzzed again. Ashley's message came first. You humiliated us. Dad's followed. This didn't need to happen. I didn't reply. For the first time, the room I wasn't in had done what I never could. It told the truth out loud, with witnesses, and then it closed the door behind them. Ashley tried one last time the night after the meeting. A transfer notification lit up my phone. $47.83, sent with a note that said, For Evan, please don't block me. I declined it without replying. Dad texted a few minutes later. Whatever point you were making, it's gone too far. I stared at his name on my screen. Then I typed one word. Goodbye. I blocked them both before the message could pull me back into anything. The morning of the trip, my apartment was quiet in a way I wasn't used to. No raised voices through thin walls. No lists waiting for me before breakfast. I opened my phone and deleted Dad's contact. The name vanished. So did the weight that came with it. At the port, Marianne handed me my badge. Lauren Hayes, it read, clean and centered. She smiled, gentle but firm. You didn't abandon them. She said, you stopped carrying them. Emily hugged me hard. I'm glad you're here. Me too, I said, and meant it. As we boarded, someone mentioned Ashley had been calling relatives again, trying to explain. No one answered. The ship's horn sounded once, low and final. I watched the dock drift back, then disappear. If you've ever been the one who fixes everything, who pays quietly, who apologizes just to keep peace, remember this when the silence feels unfamiliar. You're allowed to choose it. You're allowed to keep your life. Marianne raised her glass beside me, to calm seas. I lifted mine, to not going back. The water stretched open ahead of us, steady and wide, and for the first time in years, everything I carried belonged only to me.